Hi, and welcome to my tutorial on fluid volumes. This is going to be a very basic explanation on how to introduce a water volume or a fluid volume to your map to basically add in lakes of water. At the moment I'm working with a blank canvas, so I'm just going to very quickly jump into my terrain editing tool and get some hills and mountains, so it's got a better explanation, or shows a better explanation of when we add this water volume. So just going to use painting, going to leave my strength fairly high and quickly making some mountains. Now that's ugly, but serves a purpose. Alright, now there's a really ugly little section of hills, but doesn't matter at this point. Alright, just closing that down. Going to make sure that my camera movement is selected. What we need to do is bring up our builder brush. Now that's done by pressing one of these icons over here on our toggle bar. Now basically, if you've opened the map for the first time, when you hit one of these buttons over here, whether it be the square or the cube, the flat sheet or the cone or the cylinder, it should appear somewhere in the middle of your map. If you've been working on a map and saved it and reopened it, where you were last using that builder brush, that's where it'll appear. So I'm just going to simply click on the cylinder. As I said, it's appeared in the middle of the map. But let's just say you're somewhere off, away, different part of the map. If you right click on the terrain and choose move builder brush here, there you have it. There's your builder brush. So going back over to the center, right click, move builder brush here. There's our builder brush. A little static mesh or our wireframe model. Now, I'm just going to right click on this top window up here, choose view and remove the terrain. Whenever I'm working with a builder brush to make a water volume, I always use the basically this bottom screen and the top screen, because I find using the top screen helpful in regards to where the different vertices are on the terrain tool. Okay, coming back over to our toggle bar, we've clicked on the cylinder, just right click on it. We're going to make these parameters a little bit different. Not being real specific, I'm going to change the height to 1000 and the outer radius to 2000. Going to click build. This can be modified later anyway. As you can see, it's not big enough yet, but probably should have left that terrain up there in the top window. I'll do it again. Right click on the grey area, choose view, show terrain. Alright, what we need to do, you can do this one of two ways. You can add the volume in now and then adjust the volume to suit that size, or you can adjust the builder brush to start with and then add your volume in. We'll do it adjusting the brush first. So come across to your toggle bar, choose the vertex editing tool. Now, using the tool, you basically want to shape this builder brush. So highlighting say two of the vertices, we basically just want to make sure that we capture all of that terrain that we've modified. Now, like I said, we can adjust this later. For the time being, we just want to make sure that we get all of the terrain covered off. Going to our camera movement, just making sure it's more central. So there we have it. It's sitting from a plan view right around our terrain. Now what we're going to do now is go across to our toggle bar, where it's got this cube here. We're going to right click, it brings up a menu. All I'm just going to basically explain at the moment is the fluid volume. This is where we add water. Where it says down the bottom there, fluid volume, click on that. Now by default, you get a bluey type water or layer gets applied to that builder brush. Now we can move that builder brush out of the road by simply holding down Control. Because the builder brush is highlighted, it'll move away. And it leaves this black one, which is the fluid volume. Now at the moment, as you can see, and just coming over to the center of it, you can see a blue surface. If we were to hold down left and right mouse and drag it towards us, you'll go underneath it. Now looking above, back through it, it shows that the surface is blue, but underneath, the terrain colour is the same. What we want to do now though is actually just position that water so it looks more believable. So what we need to do is click the brush or the builder brush border to make sure the vertices show up, to show that it's selected. Holding down Control and Alt, holding down left and right mouse, pull the mouse towards you and you'll change the position. It'll come down of your water volume. And you can basically line it up on the terrain however you like. I'm going to leave it about there. It's basically showing a bit of a nice little lap there between the terrain before it gets into the water. And that's basically just positioning, like a very, very quick explanation of how to position your water volume and your terrain. But what I want to show you as well is some finer attributes or finer settings that you can to make your water even more realistic looking. The way you do that is right click on the line of the fluid volume to bring up this menu. Choose the fluid volume properties. Okay, I'm just going to close that down. When you first open up this properties box, this is what you'll see. You'll see the first lot of parameters all open up. And you'll get down, you have all these slots sitting here as well. Just want to direct your attention to these last few parameters. We've got surface color, surface low detail, surface ripples, which we'll touch on, surface texturing, surface waves, which we'll just touch on, and volume fog. Click on your surface color. You have 3 parameters in relation to your surface color and the actual colour of your surface that you can adjust here. Now this is what I've just learnt through experience. When it comes to choosing the base colour, and what we're doing here is just simply trying to make your water look more believable. When it comes to your base colour, I've always tried to pick the darkest area of your terrain. So what you do is you go to that slot where it says base colour, click on the arrow to get the selection where it says pick. Highlight that, and what you'll see is your pointer will turn into an eyedropper. Now what we want to do now is just choose a dark area. I'm going to cheat here and click on this terrain or this zone info to basically get a black. You'll see that volume's gone a little bit darker. Now you've got to imagine too that your reflection modulator, which is basically what it's going to reflect above it, which obviously is going to be the skybox, and your tangent color, which is a further adjustment. What I generally do is I choose either skybox colors or vegetation colors. When it comes to the tangent color, I generally try and pick something from the vegetation, be it a leaf, a trunk, something in regards to the static meshes that you add to your map. The reflection modulator, that's what it reflects from above. So to do that, to best choose the color that it's going to see from above, you have to go to your skybox. What we'll do is we'll go up to where it says the group browser. Click on that. Now your properties window will change in a second, but we can always get back to that. Looking for our sky zone info. Now right click on it and choose go to. What will happen now is you'll go up into your skybox. And just to show you why it's different, I'm just going to close this down. Why it's different. On your top screen there you can see this yellow square, which currently depicts where your skybox is. If we were to scroll out, that's where it is in relation to your map. So you've got this zone info here, which is basically the same zone info which is on your terrain. It's pointing to the same location. But in relation to where your map is, That's where it sits. Alright, now we're up in our skybox. As you can see, the skybox on the bottom texture is white. Then you have your clouds around the sides. And then looking upwards, you'll have a blue sky. This one's got a sun. Basically, your water, that's what's going to reflect the top part of your skybox. Once again, this is just my suggestion only. Now coming back over to your actor groups, you want to highlight that fluid volume and bring back up its properties box. Scroll back down to where we were, which is the surface colour. The reflection modulator. Click on that slot, pick on the arrow, choose pick. Now choose the top area of your skybox and try and get the sky, not a cloud, but basically the most consistent colour that's on that top of the skybox. Now just to be simple, I suppose, I'm going to do the same thing for the time being with the tangent colour. I'm going to choose pick and choose the top of the skybox. But like I said before, I normally pick part of the vegetation, one of the trees or a plant. Currently my map has no plants or trees, so it makes no sense to try and find one. So I'm just going to choose the tangent colour here, which is the top of the skybox. Okay, now coming back over to our actor groups, where it says terrain info, and this is basically just to get us back from the skybox to our terrain, or our map. Right click on it and choose go to. This takes us back to our terrain info icon, which is directly at our map again. Now you're not going to see a huge change there to the fluid volume surface texture, but coming back to where it is in your group browser, making sure your properties box is up, which it is, coming back down where your surface color is, this parameter is going to change the, well, as it says there, the transparency. But just to quickly show you, at the moment on 127, pretty see-through. Putting it on 50, you should see a change. All you're basically doing is adjusting the visibility through that top layer. It's not adjusting the underneath colour, but just in regards to what you see from above through it, this is what we're adjusting. Hope that makes sense. Now you can muck around with this setting here. Obviously put it on 0. You're not going to see anything. It's going to be a very flat colour. You'll see nothing through it. So as a starting point, just going to put it on 50. So it's dark, but you can still see through it. Alright, that's what we'll do with the surface colour. Your surface face low detail. Now this is a benefit to the people that play Tribes Vengeance on low settings. Basically when you're running your computer on high settings, you're going to get a different look to the water. It's going to look more realistic, it'll be more shiny. But these poor people that run on low detail, they're just going to simply see a flat colour. It's going to be very unexciting. TV gives us an option to make it look a bit better for the people who run it on low detail. One area that I've found to get that detail from is once again from your skybox. Now to find your skybox, we could go back through the actor groups, but we're going to go over to the textures. So on your actor groups browser, click on the textures tab, click on this drop down menu here, and basically whatever skybox you've chosen when you've created your map, it should be listed here on this drop down menu where it says skybox day 2. Click on that, and what this is going to do is bring up all the textures for your skybox. Now what we're looking for is the top, which is here. So make sure that's highlighted by clicking left mouse. It's got the green border around it. Coming back over to your surface low detail where it says texture. Click on the slot, bring down this menu and choose use. You're not going to see the change here in TV yet, but you will see it in game. So what it's basically doing now is people who run the game on low detail, this you're going to not necessarily see that exactly, but you're going to see a hazy picture of that texture right across the surface of the water, which makes it look better for them. But one thing that I found is key, this texture is currently sitting at 1024 by 1024, Whereas I'm just going to hit that button there to bring back the texture scale. At the moment, TVEd's telling the texture to project onto this surface here at a texture of 512. We need to change that to the same parameters of the actual texture. Now when I say you need to, this is what I found that's worked for me. I'm pretty sure if you put that on a larger diameter, or sorry, a larger scale, you're going to get a different look. But I've just found that the 1024, or the same parameters as the texture you're using, generally works. In regards to your texture speed, don't worry about that for the time being. You can muck around that with your own time. Closing down your surface low detail. Now what we're going to go to next, well, we won't worry about the ripples, the surface texturing. Now if you can imagine when you look at water, you're going to see a reflection that bounces off it, and you'll be able to see a reflection of the environment around it. Now Valediction has actually made a cube mapping tutorial, and it's available on my blogger. Highly suggest that you download that, and he explains very well how to make a cube map. And this is what we need to draw on to add into this slot here to basically give you that reflection. And basically he explains how to take a screenshot at different points of your map and create a cube map within TVEd to then add into this slot here. We're going to cheat, and I'm just going to show you some cube maps that have already been made that you can draw from. But certainly suggest that you learn how to make your own cube maps to make your water or fluid volumes look a lot better. But coming up into your open package folder, you want to scroll back, click on where it says environments, and back into the art folder. What we're looking for are the cube maps. Now hopefully I can find it quick enough. Might be the water one, but I'm just going to go over here. Nope. So click on the water package. Okay, what this has done, it's brought up all the cube maps that have been used in the retail maps, if that makes sense. As I said, it's a series of screenshots that are taken at different angles within your map, built into a cube, which Valediction explains, and then you use that cube to put into here. Now we're just going to pick one. Like I said, these ones from retails. Obviously it's not going to suit this map or this fluid volume because they're all taken from other maps. But as you can see there, you've got there's one for Cavern, one there for Colosseum, and so on and so forth. So I want to pick one which is going to really show up here on this fluid volume, which really stands out. So I'm going to pick that one for Cavern, just to show you the change. So hopefully I can find it. Alright, the cube map. We're looking for the one that says cube map. You've got this one here that says text env map. Don't worry about that. We want to find the cube map where it says cube map, Cavern cube. Make sure it's highlighted, so it's got the green colour to it. Come back over to your properties window where it says reflection map. Click on that, choose the arrow, and choose use. I'm not sure whether you saw it then, but there was a change to your surface. Now in your own TVEd you should be able to see Cavern in the reflection of your fluid volume, and that's why it's key that you get an understanding of how to make your own cube maps. Once again, it's just adding extra detail to your fluid volume so it looks more realistic. Okay, that's all we need to worry about there. So closing that back down, going to take you down to volume fog. Volume fog, not volume flog. Alright, this is going to adjust the water detail underneath. Now we've mucked around with the surface colours and reflections and what have you, but it doesn't look realistic underneath. First thing we need to do, and this is where I generally sit just below the surface of the fluid volume, we need to make this parameter here in the properties window where it says distance fog, change it to true. And straight away it goes black, but scrolling back up again, you're above the water. So obviously we need to change the colour of what the fog is underneath the water volume. Now this once again is done by choosing the colour from your skybox. Now we're not necessarily going to cheat, but we're going to find that skybox via our texture browser. So go back to where it says the name of your skybox. Find the top of your skybox, which is that top texture there. Come back over to your properties window. Click on that slot. Click on the arrow, then on pick. Now it's going to scroll back underneath, where currently it's black. Okay, I've lied to you, it's not going to let me do it. We have to go and find our terrain, our skybox. So click on your actor groups, where it says skybox info or sky zone info, right click, choose go to. Cycle around so you see the top of the skybox, and using the picker once again, going to make sure your fluid volume is selected over here in the class browser or group browser, actor groups browser. Coming back down to your volume fog, clicking on that distance fog color, click on the arrow, choose pick, click on the blue. As you can see, that color now has changed to blue. Sorry if I confused you then. Alright, we need to get back to where our fluid volume is. So come over to your actor groups, choose your terrain info, right click, choose go to. Alright, now no visible changes yet, but if we cycle underneath, it now looks blue. At the moment, it looks a little bit too harsh, a little bit too flat. We can change that. So once again, either via the actor groups browser, choose the fluid volume, make sure your properties box is up, or click on the outer border and that'll bring it up as well. We can adjust that so it looks more natural, I suppose. Back down to your volume fog slot, where it's got this distance fog end and distance fog start. That should be pretty self-explanatory. Basically, your fog end is where it's going to get the foggy, so you're not going to see past that. And your distance start is once again where you start to see it. Where you're going to get the biggest change is your fog end. That's just a rule of thumb, and once again reinforced. Look at some retail maps and look at their settings. We'll start with 3000. Click on that, and you'll see the change. Now this is where you can muck around with different settings yourself. Put it on 2000, it's going to get foggier. Put it on 1000, foggier again. You're basically just going to muck around with that until it gets to the point where you're happy with it, where you think it looks realistic. I found between 2000 and 3000 suits me. Obviously the closer you get to the terrains, you can be able to see the colour of that. But that looks more realistic. You haven't got water which has colour from above, but nothing underneath. That's the way it should be. So obviously just try and think of how you want your water to look. If you're making a dark, murky sort of coloured map, you're going to want it looking sort of dark and murky underneath as well, aren't you? Your distant fog start, and I'll show you what that does when you change your parameter. We'll change it to 1000. And once again, it's just fine tuning how you see the fog. It's making the terrain that's closest to you more visible. And generally I will leave that no more than 500, but for the purpose of this, put it back on 0. Alright. Now they're the key areas, just closing down the actor groups browser, that you would adjust with your fluid volume. Just want to take you back to where it says here the surface waves. Now, good rule of thumb, always remember what these settings are here. The wave height scaler, which is on 0.5, and your wave speed scaler, which is on 1. Just to show you what this does, and in most cases those settings are going to be fine, but you may want to change them. So just for example, we're going to change this to 10. Now what you're going to get there is a fairly aggressive rise and fall with your water volume. As you can see, it's panning out past the actual water volume or above the grass now. But I just wanted to show you what that does. So to make sure it doesn't go out past the areas that we want, put it down to 5. That won't be as aggressive now. As you can see, it's still sticking its nose up over there. This is why it's good to know or remember what the original setting was on. Just stuck it on 2. Now your wave speed scaler basically adjusts the speed of those waves. So once again, put it on 10. You're not going to see the change really depicted well on TV Ed. You'll see it best in game. That's obviously just changing the speed of it. Now, closing down your surface waves, we'll go to our surface ripples. I'm probably going through this a little bit quick, but I just want to show you what it does. Alright, ripple strength. Currently it's on 100. If we were to bring that higher, once again, it's not going to show you it totally here. Put it up to 255. Now, where it says ripple speed, at the moment you've got 3.3 on your X and your Y. So just mucking around with some settings, and you'll see some differences. Make a liar of me, it won't do a thing. Change it to the Z now. Ripple scale 1024. But I just wanted to show you that. It's just where you can get some differences to your water. Yeah, it's showing a bit more extra speed there now. But certainly highly suggest just mucking around with those. Parameters 512. Yep. So that's basically just, like I said, a very quick, rough tutorial on how to add a fluid volume and tweak it so it looks a lot better. Once again, this is only complemented by getting that valediction cube mapping tutorial off my blogger as well. But I hope that helps you out. Thanks for watching. Bye.